All right, 20-minute check-in. So, if you've ever been up to MacAfee Knob, MacAfee Knob, I always screw that up. And there's somebody local who will correct me. Anyway, if you've ever been up to MacAfee Knob, you may, and just to the knob, you may have gone up the fire road. So, after about a quarter mile up the trail or less, you pick up the fire road. Whole lot easier grade. This is obviously not the fire road, it's the AT. And so just want to go up to the knob, take the fire road. If you're hiking, doing the AT, when you get to the top of the first hit pull right out of the parking lot, you're going to go through a rock garden, and then you'll go downhill just a little bit, and there'll be a backcountry kiosk. So a place that's got, you know, maps and stuff on it with a tiny roof over it. And you need to go to the right of that. To the left of it is the fire road. To the right is the AT. Give yourself about 100 yards before you see a blaze and think you're not on it. Get back to you in a minute. Yeah, I had some folks coming and I didn't want to ask their permission to be on video, and some people don't want to be on video, so I understand that. I don't like talking over them. They did not, however, know trail etiquette, as I was uphill and they were coming downhill and they didn't budge. The other folks before them did. So trail etiquette, person coming uphill has the right of way. If you're going downhill, just stand off to the side for them, particularly if they're carrying a pack, or even if they're not carrying a pack, because that is, they got gravity against them, you got gravity working for you, and they may be at the end of their hike and need all the help they can get. So trail etiquette is move over, uphill has the right of way. All right, enough of my soapbox. So back to the trail and the blazes. You'll come across a blaze in 100 yards or so, and you'll be on the right path. Got a ride from Homer. I can't remember his name. I'll stick it down here below as well as his number. Got a ride from Homer. He's Shuttles out of Daleville, but of course covers this area, and it was a real treat to chat with him. Homer's 81, been shuttling for 30 years, and is a trail maintainer. He and his wife, who's 67, you do the math, is look after, I think he said 16 shelters in 16 miles. Maybe it was definitely 16 miles. It may have been considerably more shelters than that. Obviously there's not 16 shelters in those 16 miles, so he does it for other sections. And they make picnic tables and haul them in, and of course cut out debris and all that neat stuff. So thanks, Homer, for all you do shuttling hikers, getting them off the trail, emergencies, people like me who just up here enjoying the trail, and really for maintaining the trail. And neat story, learned all about a small portion of his life, but the shuttle from Black Horse Gap to MacAfee Knob is going to take you right around 45 minutes to an hour. So schedule that in your day if you're doing this section. And Black Horse Gap, I'll throw a video in here in just a minute about it, so you'll know about it, but I'll do that after Homer. So Homer was 67 when he retired. I think he married his wife at like 61, and she was in her 40s or something, and she asked him to marry her. So that's she is a her. So that was pretty neat, and he says she's the prettiest girl in the county, and he is not the prettiest man in the county. But it has worked out awesome for them, and she had told him to retire like really early in life, when people retire, you know, in his early 60s, not long after they married, because she wanted him to go out and enjoy the trail that he loves so much. And hey, we're coming to this first shelter, so I'll show you. I'll pick up with Homer here in a minute. Let me show you this shelter. So this is Black Horse Gap, where I have parked my car, and the truck awaits. It looks like there's parking on both sides of the road. There are gates on both sides of the road here that I'm sure they do not want you to block. Although when I contacted the Park Service, they didn't say anything about not blocking the gates, but that's my assumption. So anyway, one side's got pretty fairly, yeah, I don't know, maybe 4 cars here. Maybe if you got your vehicle jacked up on the side there. And then the other side, probably maybe get 3 there. So it's kind of, so the trail comes right up here. So it looks like the trail, I believe, is across the street, and then it continues on down. There is a sign down there. There's also a campsite up here. Somebody's already got it stocked up with wood. So that's kind of what Black Horse Gap, where I have parked my truck, and we'll show you some of the sights of the of what the smoke looks like later on in the hike. All right, we'll continue the hike. All right, this is John Springs Shelter, named after John Horanzo, who was a trail aficionado, trail maintainer, hiker, was in charge of the Roanoke Appalachian Trail Club for a while, and this shelter's named for him. There is a spring down that way. It was totally dry. Well, not totally, no flow, but enough to dip, but we're talking an inch or so deep. And then the privies right down there. I won't bore you through inside of that. So really, maybe a tent spot there, as long as it wasn't going to rain. It's washed out, leaves are gone, so that means water runs over it. Of course, plenty of trees for hammocking, but not much for tenting. There is a there's a fireplace here, and unfortunately, I'm gonna get on my soapbox again. People have put tinfoil and crap in it, and now somebody's got to haul that out. Trail maintainer, ridge runner, something. Looks like maybe you could get, I don't know, 8 folks in here in a pinch, maybe 10, but that's pretty much what it looks like there. Does have a picnic table. All right, this is Charlie Mike up the trail, and I'm not in a hurry today because I'm only doing 10 miles. Left at 1 o'clock, plenty of time to do it. So on towards MacAfee Knob. There is another shelter, Catawba shelter, that I'll stop at on the way and show you that. Might as well, because today's not a day that I'm going balls to the wall. All right, chat with you in a bit. All right, so that was the shelter. Now let's get back and finish my story about Homer. So Homer simply adores his wife Teresa, and he just went on and on. Didn't know how he was so lucky, didn't know why she married him, but I'm not going to share with you why she married him or why he says so. So anyway, great man, great part of the community. Been doing it for decades, maintaining and shuttling hikers, and he and his wife, they both in it together, and she made him retire, and they're both uber smart. He was the manager of the lab at the hospital. Not sure what hospital that is. They currently live in Delville, but I don't know if that was Delville or not. And she is a microbiologist. So she made him quit that what I assume would be a lucrative career, because the stress, she said, was killing him. He needed to go do what he enjoyed, and that was hiking and trail work. So after she kept insisting, that's what he did. And then she continued to work and you know, support the household monetarily and let him do his thing. And then eventually, I think at 61, I'm probably getting my time frames mixed up there, but anyway, in her 60s, she retired. And in 2002, they had a 8-year-old daughter and 11-year-old son, and they took off on the AT and hiked it from Springer all the way to Katahdin. And they had been hiking it over the years in sections, and she goes, we're going to go hike the AT and do it, the whole thing. And he thought that meant finish their sections, and she goes, nope, we're starting over. So awesome wife, awesome driver, awesome story, awesome part of the community, and we are richer for people like him in this community. And unfortunately, people like him are aging out, and I don't know that the same caliber and number of folks are replacing him, particularly as maintainers. That's a problem. So anyway, that is the Homer Odyssey, or the Odyssey of Homer, however that's said. All right, this Iliad is going to Charlie Mike, and we'll get back to you probably when we get to MacAfee Knob. We ought to be a 1.5 miles away. All right, coming into Catawba, I believe is what it is, shelter. I don't know why it's called Catawba. Maybe because they got some of those Catawba rhododendrons growing there, but anyhow, oh, this looks like a really, really new shelter, or it's been refurbished. Hey there, how you doing? All right. So we got about 6 to 8 here. Any water at the spring? Or is this one the one where it's a long ways down? Spare bag, picnic table, and a spring. Not many camp spots. Yeah, so sorry for abruptly shutting it down, but look right there. Look right there. Let's get her to move. She ain't scared. Like I said, not really any tent sites here that I can see. It's all on a hill. So, it was nice to see mama deer, but no tent sites. I think she is moved on. I know, there she is right through there. She blends in so good. All right, we'll leave her alone and get on up trail. Yeah, so they did have a bear box there, so that's cool. All right, let's get on up. There's the privy, way out here. And it says that there is some campsites somewhere. There was a sign back there. I don't have a clue where they're at. But if I see them, I'll let you know. We got some signage coming up here. See what this says. We got 18 North, MacAfee Knob. Oh, dang, I was way off. It's 1.5 miles up that way. Oh, here's your campsite. Cool. Not exactly level, but you can make do. Jerks throwing paper and cigarette butts in the fire. Thanks a lot, you non-hikers. All right, let me get out of here before I start saying things I shouldn't say. Tears me up. Tinker Cliff 6.6. I'll be going by that. MacAfee a mile and a half. 17.4 to 220. So I won't be going that far today. All right. Keep on going. Keep on climbing. All right. So this is where the fire road comes back in. If you just want to walk up it. So it's 3/10 from the campsites there at Catawba. 1.2 from MacAfee left up. So if you want an easy way down, that's it, or easy way up. All right, I ought to be coming into MacAfee's Knob here in a half mile or so. This kind of gives you an idea what the path looks like. There's so many people that come up here. It's like, 4 miles, give or take, off the major highway, the parking lot. I mean, they've got so many people coming up here that they run a shuttle from a remote parking area. So that just gives you an indication. But kind of reminds you Georgia. Matter of fact, I don't know, it don't get more people out in Georgia. I would argue it probably does. It's like a stealth spot up there. Probably folks camp there between these gargantuan rocks to watch the sunrise or sunset up here at the Knob. But don't expect any great long distance views because of the smoke from Canada. I know it's called Canada. I call it Canada because they're called Canadians. They're not called Canadians, Canadians. They're called Canadians. So it's Canada. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm tired, so I'm taking it. Anyway, all the smoke, it's all up and down the eastern seaboard, and it's actually getting through hikers, particularly around New York State, off trail because of it. I mean, they say in New York, particularly around New York City, which never has smog, interestingly enough, I guess because it's right there on the ocean, but they say that it's so bad there that you can't hardly see the skyline across the Hudson. And if you go outside with no K95 mask on, it's like smoking a cigarette an hour. That's a lot of freaking particulates in the air. And, OSHA has, back in my heyday, fall hazards were a big thing. And now they've about got enough people indoctrinated into that to harness up and protect falls. Now one of the big things is this lung irritants, particulates, lung fibrosis, due to people getting particulates from particularly concrete dust, brick dust, block dust from sawing, and they're supposed to saw it wet and have a respirator, and that ain't happening. But all this causes fibrosis, and it was pretty neat rock garden. Cancer and esophageal problems, respiratory problems, all that neat stuff. So there's a little campsite. So Asha, surprised, hadn't told everybody on jobs to go home, but maybe they have. I don't know. I haven't kept up with that much on what's going on up there with Asha, but I know they've shut down baseball games and schools and stuff. Outside activity for schools, of course, that'd be summer school since it's summer. All right, next stop, MacAfee Knob. All right, little chilly up here too. I think it's like in the 70s, mid 70s. Maybe it doesn't feel like high 70s, but a little bit of wind going up here, probably affecting the sound, but Anyway, it's still pretty. Not as pretty. Thanks, Canada. All right, we're gonna, not much more to see, so we're gonna Charlie Mike on up the trail. Next stop will probably be Tinker Cliffs. All right, so that is it for MacAfee Knob. So not as pretty as I've seen it before, but it was still pretty nonetheless, even if you can't see all you could see before. But heading on, met Protractor, who came from Springer, and some other folks out section hiking. Haven't heard anybody staying at Lamberts Meadow tonight, so maybe I'll have that by myself for at least a camping spot there. Little report on the breathing conditions. So I haven't had any breathing issues. Haven't, other than smelling smoke a little bit, just maybe my imagination, but hadn't been bad at all. It's just, and I hadn't been around that many views either, so other than MacAfee Knob, I'm getting ready to now though. So these views will definitely be affected, and this is not part of the trail here. Guess that's Roanoke Airport there. All right, it's official. Furthest north continuous path from Springer I've been is right here, which is just past MacAfee Knob. So you could tell the path narrowed down, so not as many folks come this way as go up to MacAfee Knob. They turn around and go back to the parking lot. So this takes me on about 3 miles to Tinker Cliffs, and that will be the end, northern end of the Triple Crown. So the last hike I did Dragon's Tooth and got off there at the parking lot at MacAfee Knob, and then today I've done MacAfee, soon to be Tinker Cliffs. All right, we're continuing down. All right, so okay, so this is Campbell Shelter. Shelter has got a deck on it, picnic table, 6 to 8. Few spots in here for tents. Not a ton, but they are decently level for the most part. That one up there is not. It is right below the pig farm, or trail south of the pig farm. So there are campsites up there. Does have a privy, and yep, once again, you know who has left junk in the fire pit for somebody else to clean up. So the shelter itself, probably 8 folk here. And it's got a deck. Oh, and a bear box. Oh, what a plus. All right, I think that's the last shelter before Lamberts Shelter, but plenty of tent sites here or at the pig farm. Although I didn't show the pig farm because there's a lot of chaps, hikers there when I came through, so you don't want to get in there, grits. All right, heading on out to Tinker's Cliff. All right, we've come on, looks like to be an old logging road, or an old fire road, probably an old logging road that's no longer in use. Come across these every now and then. Makes for a good hike. Most of the time they're graded like a road, but they've got enough use on them where they're not so hard like a road. Just past a group. I don't know if you can see them behind me back there, but there's about 6 of them. And, you know, I don't know what the appropriate etiquette is for trying to get around a group. But, you know, walk on the trail, the first 2, or the back 2, were conscious enough to say, hear me coming up, and jump off trail for just a split second, allow me to get around. But, of course, the furthest 2 are oblivious to me. One reason the guy in front's chattering on, but the guy right in front of me was not. And you know, I hit my poles on every rock and leaf I could to let her know I was back there. Hopefully she'd let me around, just out of, again, hiker etiquette. And sounds like on this trip I've harped on hiker etiquette, so I guess that'll be my thumbnail, hiker etiquette. Does it exist? Anyhow, so it just, she wouldn't let me pass for squat. And, you know, you don't want to get right up on somebody's heels, but I'm definitely closer than what they allowed during COVID. Didn't seem to phase her. Eventually we got to that portion of the road back there, the old fire road, and I just asked, hey, I'm coming up on your right here, and got around her. And then the next 2. So, yeah, they're probably calling me all kind of names now, but anyway, yeah, that wasn't my pace. Everybody has their own pace. It's not a matter of being in a hurry. It's not a matter of they're wrong and I'm right, other than the etiquette side of it. It's just a matter of, hey, this is my pace, and if I don't like my pace, then you know, I'm just off. Doesn't feel right. And specifically hiking behind somebody, I can't look around and enjoy stuff. And the alternative is to stop for 30 or 45 minutes, let them get far enough in front of you. But in any case, that's my rant, hopefully, for the day. And we'll continue on down this nice little old logging road. Okie dokie.